Well, good morning. I'm speaking to you from the beautiful island of Bali, which is part of the Indonesian group, of course. And I'm here with family, Janet, my wife, and daughters, children, grandchildren, and now speaking to God's family and MBCI worldwide. I think that being on vacation gives one time to reflect, and Janet just came and said hello with her fingers. Yeah, gives one time to reflect on many things. And we had an interesting experience that I want to share, which I think is related to some exhortation I've given you before about Matthew chapter 7, verse 7, which we call the A.S.K. Ask, seek, and knock. It's interesting going on vacation, one hopes to switch off, but one can't switch off from God. That's just the reality. And He makes His presence felt in all circumstances and situations, and you can hear that little voice just saying something to you. And just 2 days ago, we were at a very nice resort, as we are today, where we're staying, in lovely accommodation. But we're at a resort which had playing fields and kids' massive water slides, and probably where many of the rich and famous probably would gather, and we were invited there to meet some folk. Anyway, we were sitting with maybe two or three people, and the inevitable question came up from this Australian man. Sorry, just had to adjust my glasses. Who the inevitable question was, well, where do you live and who are you and all those sorts of things. But then that question is, what do you do? Unfortunately, Janet was sitting alongside of me, and before she could even start to explain a little bit about what we do, this person said, I understand what you're talking about. And I said, okay, well, why do you understand what we're talking about? Perhaps you could inform us. He said, well, I head up the corporate lending for a bank in Australia, which is Australia's largest bank. And he said, I have something like 300 general managers all wanting to do their own thing. And he went on to say, we have an internal coaching, mentoring program inside our bank, but I know it is not working. And have you got anybody where I reside, which happens to be in the city of Adelaide? And he said, I also visit Sydney often. Now, what a great opportunity to, when somebody asks you, because we were not necessarily seeking, but that person was seeking, and he was knocking on MBCI's door. Now, I guess that our choice could have been to simply play this thing down and give a very vacationalized answer, but I felt there was a prompting from God. Consequently, my job now is to pass this on to the CEO of MBCI Australia, who no doubt will, Rob Moore, and Brett Golding, who is an MBC in the City of Adelaide, and we'll ask them to follow that through. Again, abiding by the Matthew 7:7 principle, because we can pray, asking, we can seek, we can do all sorts of publicity, emailing out, swamping the media with, if we've got a large advertising budget, and the knocking on the doors. But I feel that almost maybe it's when somebody asks us, they're seeking, and they're knocking on our door, it turns the whole concept of Matthew 7:7 around. So perhaps In your satellite groups, I would ask you to pray into this Matthew 7:7 exhortation. Yes, by all means, we need to have a public face, which is you yourself as an NBC. We need to have an appropriate website that we can certainly refer people to. That's part of 5Ps or 6Ps or 7Ps of marketing, whatever the latest marketing thing is. But yeah, God's favour is definitely there. So I just want to leave that with you, Matthew 7:7, and be very interested to hear any of your responses as to how God has dealt with Matthew 7:7 in your lives, and particularly in the lives of your fellow NBCs as you assemble together, worshipping together, praying together, seeking Him together, working together. So I leave you with these thoughts, and always, as always, welcome your input. Please email me or Skype me and have a chat at any time. Many blessings to you all in the name of our precious Yeshua HaMashiach. Bye for now.